Now, legend is a term that is thrown around far too easily nowadays, but up next on the Cars Ireland YouTube channel is a true legend of the motoring world, the Toyota Hilux. Today we are testing it in double cab form in Invincible spec. The entry-level single cab starts at about €30,000. If you want a double cab, €38,000. And if you want to go the full Mark Grayson like we have today, it's about €53,000. At this point you may well have noticed the very bold paint choice. This is called Oxide Bronze, but there is something called Orange Spice, which I think is even more out there. I'm a big fan of this military look. Shall we have a look around the big old beast? Yes? Great.
CarsIreland.ie. Click, click, vroom, vroom.
Powering the Hilux Invincible is a 2.8 litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, and that is fueled by something called diesel. You get about 204 horsepower, 500 Newton meters of torque, and you'll get to 100 kilometers an hour in about 10.7 seconds. That is a very heavy bonnet. God, whew. Very reassuring. So you can tow up to 3.5 tons. There is a full-size spare wheel underneath here. The load bay can take up to 1 ton. I was not moving anything of 1 ton weight today, but I did fit 8 bags of clippings in there very handily. Now, without dwelling on it too much, there are lots of options back here too for rollover bars in matte black and silver and a full overhead cover, which I think is about 3.5 grand. All that cool, functional stuff. So what's the back like? Well, it's a bit like sitting in a Matchbox. For someone of my height at 6 foot, sitting behind myself, it's a tight squeeze. But there are hooks on the seats. There's a magazine holder. There's a grab handle. There's a Jesus handle. There's another hook back here. There's 2 Isofix points. There's an armrest with cup holders. Just wish I was a bit shorter. So up front is a bit roomier, a bit more pleasant for someone of my height. Now if you're playing a bit of Toyota Hilux bingo here with me, I'm going to tick off 2 of them very quickly. It is a bit plasticky in here, but it feels very tough and very hard wiring. You do get an 8-inch infotainment screen. The graphics are a bit old school if I'm being nice, so a bit Sonic the Hedgehog. See what I did there? Yeah. But it works fine, and there's nice handy buttons on the side to quickly get you to your selected menu. Above that you have a proper old school digital clock as well, really like that. The dash for the driver is very simple. The air conditioning is perfect and easy to use, and other companies could learn a lot from it. There's dials and buttons. Hallelujah! Underneath that you have 12-volt chargers either side. We have heated seats, greatly appreciated on a cold winter's day I'm sure, and a USB port too. You also have your buttons for hill descent control, and you select your 4-wheel drive option by a little rotary dial here. So high 2, high 4, low 4. You have a big chunky gear selector here in the middle. It is a 6-speed automatic, and that is what you get on the Invincible model. And you have your eco power buttons. You have 2 cup holders. You have your armrest with a 220 volt 100 watt charger in here, 2-prong. You have a bit of storage here where you press the Hilux button. You have your glove box. We also have perforated leather seats, and they are actually very comfy. I've done quite a few kilometers in this without any issues at all. There's an old school handbrake with a zip on it where you can actually see the mechanics underneath.
Oh, kinky!
Steering wheel feels like it will last forever. It's quite a coarse material, but long lasting no doubt. One complaint I would have is it doesn't telescope out far enough for me. I would like that to come out a bit more, but nothing major. We have radar guided cruise control, you have lane keep assist, a lot of modern luxuries on what might be considered a utility vehicle, but that's what you get for getting the Invincible spec. Ultimately, it's no nonsense, and if you want something with the lasting power of James Milner or Grey's Anatomy, this is it. Time for a drive, I reckon. So as this is a Hilux, I'm going to start with some very light field work because I have access to fields and it's quite easy. So I did just drive through a cut barley field without any issue at all. We're just on some green fields now, and once again, not an issue for the Hilux. In other news, the sky is blue. If you want to do some more heavy duty stuff, you have 4-wheel drive, high and low, and things like hill descent control. There's also a reversing camera on this model, which does come in handy, even if it's not the most high-def thing in the world. But it's appreciated nonetheless, because it's a long vehicle, I think 5.3 meters. This is all very easy for the Hilux. I think I'll take it out on the road, see what it's like out there. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I will say this is about an hour later. I pottered around the fields in this for a good hour because it was incredibly enjoyable and relaxing. And I don't know why, and I can't explain it, but that's what I've done. So what's it like on the road? Well, this is going to shock you. This is really going to shock you, but it drives like a pickup truck. Up front we have double wishbone suspension, and on the back it's actually leaf springs, which are a bit more heavy duty than springs, but refinement isn't quite at the same level. So when you are on a typical Irish back road, if you hit little divots or ruts across the road, you know about it. It gets jiggly in here. Will Smith would be getting jiggy with it. The 2.8 is quite nice. It's probably a bit nicer than that 2.4 that's also an option. Just for that extra 50 brake horsepower alone, I think it's probably worth it. It is a 4-cylinder, a large diesel engine, so it is loud. It's not the most refined thing in the world. When you're accelerating, once it's up and settled down, it's actually perfectly fine and perfectly pleasant. If you're cruising on the motorway at 100, 120, refinement is actually pretty decent. You don't feel a lot through your bum, but you can hear the wind noise, so that's kind of where the refinement is let down. You do have the options of eco or power mode on the big buttons down here on the center console. So if I press power mode now, it hangs onto gears a bit longer and the gearbox kind of kicks in a bit quicker. The response of the accelerator pedal lifts as well. I mean, it's handy to have, and maybe in certain situations where you maybe want it to be a bit more responsive, you will use it. It's easy to get to because it's two massive buttons down here, but most of the time you're going to be happy enough in eco mode. You're not going to carve up any back roads. The steering is pretty vague, pretty vague, but look, it's relaxed, it's simple, it's a workhorse. What do you expect, really? Like, the weight is up high, those tires are very thick, those 18-inch alloys look good in black. I like them, but they have big, thick tires on them. None of this is conducive to amazing driving, so none of this will come as a surprise to you. Fuel economy is also not its strong point, so 10 litres per 100 kilometres is what we've been getting basically for the week. The Hilux is a legend, and you generally don't get a reputation without some reason behind it, and I think it probably still is the best pickup truck you can buy today. You only have those situations where it's like, it doesn't matter what you say, it's gonna sell, people are gonna like it, it's got that reputation, it's a legend. If you'd like to search Cars Ireland for a Hilux, please do click on the link above, or have a look around for 45,000 other cars on sale at the minute. We'll leave it there. Thanks for watching.